Test. Mic check. Can you hear me? Test one. All right, guys. Okay, guys. Hopefully everybody's okay with this corona stuff going around. Shouts out to Santa Fe, all my peers. Dr. Servone, we miss you. We appreciate you. Okay. This is for the film assignment, the expression part. It asks us to select the movie genre and develop your own idea for a movie. Okay, so what I've chosen to do is take the script that we wrote, or the story that we wrote a couple of weeks ago about the hero's journey. This guy Bill that I wrote about in the story Redemption. So still working out the details, but here it goes. Okay, the expression asks us to write a script for a short film, 5 minutes or less, or a single scene in an imaginary film. Okay, it says begin by providing a description of the film, context for the scenes, elements of fiction. What is the film about? What is the time, the setting, the characters, etc. And for me, it's a little abstract. No scholar with the film stuff, but becoming. Okay. So once I'm done with this video, I'll upload it. But the script, if you would, it's pretty basic. Story goes about this guy, William Jefferson Grant, aka Bill Grant. A lot can happen in 5 years, and you know, we all know technology advances, fashion trends expire. But this guy, William Jefferson Grant, is a typical young African American male that grows up in, you know, small African American town. Tell you what, this is take one, take two next. I just want to make sure my mics are clear. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully everybody's okay. I'm going to just go through the script and we'll see what happens from there. Thanks. Redemption is based upon a true story about a middle-aged African-American guy named William Grant, better known as Bill. Lives in this South Florida college town and has seen his share of ups and downs, but it's the most recent past 5 years that seems have been the worst. Bill is a homeless college student that lives on the streets after he loses everything from receiving a DUI charge. After receiving this DUI, he resigns from his career of 8 years. His wife divorces him, and he's soon left permanently injured once he's hit by a truck while bicycling within the city limits of this town. Bill knows he needs surgery but can't afford it because of his living status. He's homeless, and Bill soon becomes a target for discrimination after countless encounters by the local police. To them, he's just a bum. But Mr. William Grant was once respected as a model citizen, taxpayer, husband, and father. Bill's story is one of redemption. Will he ever redeem himself? It is unknown, but this is the story. project is a critical analysis of social forces which have the power to shape a person's identity. Institutions such as school, prisons, law enforcement's power within the legal system, as well as the local community. This project will examine predominance of an individual through what is socially recognized as labeling theory and stigma often attached to injustices suffered by individuals within various social environments. These experiences often lead to social issues such as drug use, alcoholism, and mental illness. The attached outline for this project follows a business model for strategy planners and others that face challenges when marketing and selling their products. This business model was found at brandlearning.com and was written in February of 2014 by Amanda Jenkins. The author states within the article that one must be constantly open to new ideas and prepared to take risks, and crucially be able to act quickly on the learnings. And once again, these past 5 years for me, I've lost a lot, I've learned a lot. How will I take these learnings? Once again, how will I take these learnings? Back to the method. There are three steps within the business model that have been applied here, and within this outline, this shall provide the framework to the mini-film titled Redemption: Overcoming Difficult Times and Adapting to Social Pressures that Create Positive Change for an Individual. I'd like to add some foundation here. We all know poverty is a serious social issue. What is the definition of poverty? Rate is the rate proportion of the population whose income falls below the government's official poverty line. And back to this story, this presentation, if you would, to keep a person at a disadvantaged position, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's ethical. Now I do understand. We all understand how the social class systems work, but and if a person, I do firmly believe, if a person makes a mistake and they've satisfied all the requirements to get beyond that mistake to keep that individual at a disadvantaged position, I don't think it's fair at all. I've admitted the mistake. I've paid for that mistake. That's 2015. But to keep a person in this position, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's ethical at all. The outline. Step one, identifying the problem. What actually happened? Identify the facts, not the perceptions. And this is all public record. Arrest documents, trial documents, 2015 DUI charge, divorce, injury, back child support. The constant harassment results in a trip to Meridian, arrest reports, and the list goes on. The critical analysis I like to apply, relate them back to the objective, prioritize the critical ones, but don't ignore the others. And we'll closely examine what's referred to as labeling theory. Step two of the outline. Why did it happen? Make connections between the facts. Okay, 2015, leaving a festival, a party, King Genie Entertainment. I pull over, shut the vehicle off, fell asleep in the vehicle. But because the key was in the ignition, physical control of the vehicle, which results in the DUI. Okay, I admitted that. I've gone through that. I've paid for that. What was the root cause of the result, either good or bad? Hey, I learned a lot from that. Okay, I can give 1,000 reasons why, but I'm not making excuses here. Next slide, please. Part three of the outline. What would one do differently next time? What lessons have we learned? Okay. Remember, challenges do exist. Sometimes it's how we approach them that can make all the difference. Different mindset, Much credit, thank goodness, for Santa Fe College, as well as other professionals within the community, Alachua County Court Services, um, the Honorable Judge Walter M. Green, the Honorable Judge Jaworski, the bailiffs at the courthouse, Alachua County Sheriff's Office. These are people that I respect. These are people that have shown me respect as I go through this crap that I'm currently stuck in. Okay. How would I use these learnings? Share with others. How would I be shared with others? Redemption. I'd like to share this encouragement with others to remain calm and confident in themselves during times of struggle. Okay, let's take a brief step back and reflect on what happened. 2015, driving under the influence, 6 months driver's license suspension, a year probation, victim impact panel, substance abuse treatment, $1,000 fine, as well as community service. I'd like to give a special thank you to Dr. Chris Eisenmaker and my legal defense counsel, Dr. Blount Powell, as well as Dr. Luis Rodriguez, respectively. These individuals have shown me a great deal of respect as well, and have really shown me a great deal of encouragement as I get through this process. Thanks to y'all, respectively. Let's briefly examine the results of my 2015 mistake. Okay, I've suffered a divorce. I've lost a career of 8 years, as well as ties to my daughters. I'm pretty sure they're wondering what happened. What's going on with Dad? Why can't he get his stuff together? And mind you, I'm not crying victim here, but it gets to a point where some things become obvious. Okay, I've admitted the mistake. I've satisfied all the requirements to get beyond that mistake, but I feel there's some things going on here that are out of my control that's keeping me in this position. And once again, I don't think it's fair. So let's move on to this next topic, please. Next slide, please. In sociology, there's a term called recidivism. And next slide, please. Let me define it for those unfamiliar with the term. Recidivism. Recidivism is defined as the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. And as we learned earlier within the semester, Michael Foucault, within the truth lesson, social forces and systems of power, they have the ability to damage a person's social image and how they're perceived by the general public. Criminalization, marginalization, as well as stigmas attached often result when a person's identity has been tainted and they are viewed differently by the public. This can often happen culturally as well as professionally. And within this analysis, this provides a basis for what's called labeling theory. The next slide, I'll explain labeling theory, but more importantly, after defining it, why it matters here, okay? It's been 5 years. I've gone through that process. I thought I paid my debts to society for that mistake. I've made good strides to get back in a decent position. But each time I make good progress, guess who shows up? The boys in blue. And I'm pretty sure these professional people are looking at me like, hey, what's wrong with this guy? Why can't he get himself together? But I feel, once again, there's a backstory to it. And the more these issues arise, it makes me look unstable. It puts me at a disadvantaged position. But next slide, please. Let's discuss labeling theory. Labeling theory is a sociological theory that deals with various aspects of human behavior, especially with regard to how a person's behavior is viewed by others and compared to social norms. In general, this theory is used in sociology, criminology, as well as various approaches to mental illness among different professionals. Back to what I stated earlier, it is known that injustice is often suffered by individuals within various social environments. And these experiences can lead to social issues such as drug use, alcoholism, and a host of other issues that society deems unacceptable. And here's why. Next slide, please. Once a person is labeled as a criminal, he carries that title for life with what's known as his criminal record. Next slide, please. As many of us know, the prison system, the legal system, is big business. In many cases, profit driven. Tax dollars are spent, prison contracts, as well as mental health and rehab. Next slide, please. Please don't get me wrong here. I don't want to sound condescending, but back to the business part. I do feel that prison, jail, our legal system in many ways is necessary, but let's not forget that, hey, these prison contracts is big business, okay? Community supervision, probation, parole, those incarcerated in jail and prison, that it equates to a total correctional population. And there are different contractors that not only bid on these contracts, but own stock in these contracts. And for every person that's within this judicial system, in this correctional system, somebody's getting paid, okay? Next slide. Once again, um, prison is big business. And once a person becomes a label as a criminal, more importantly, a felon, he loses certain rights, voting rights, access to public assistance, um, financial aid for college. These all are tied to the criminal label. Next slide, please. Within the correctional system, I feel that in addition to um, the toughness, I think there should be a certain level of effectiveness as well. Once again, hey, made a mistake. 2015, I learned from that mistake, and I've gotten beyond that. Okay, I feel like I'm being discriminated against. I feel like I'm being kept within this correctional system. Okay, I've lost a lot. I've learned a lot. Can we please move forward? Let's have a look at predominance. And predominance is defined as a state or condition of being greater in number or amount. Socially defined as the possession or exertion of control or power. Um, Back to Michael Foucault, systems of power. They often influence one's identity and how they are perceived through what is identified as the social lens. Now, these systems of power, also known as social forces, have the ability to reshape one's identity in a positive or negative way. It becomes an individual's responsibility to these social changes should they hope to survive. Injustice. My statement on the issue, my experience, and my message would be this. Predominance often goes overlooked within society, but it does exist. My experiences within the past 5 years haven't been good ones in many ways. Okay, thanks to my defense counsel, um, Dr. Blount Powell, Mr. Chris Eisenmaker, Esquire, Mr. Luis Rodriguez, Esquire, respectively. Judge Walter M. Green, Your Honor, thank you. Judge Jaworski, thank you. Um, once again, I'm not preaching here, but injustice and predominance, I feel discriminated against here. Okay, I can go on and on and on, but my message once again, because a person holds a title, a badge, blue and white car, and have the ability to exert their power on a person in a disadvantaged position, I don't feel that's fair. The stigmas attached, the labeling theory, um, the psychological damage that a person can endure while going through these issues. Hey, they have lasting impressions. Next slide, please. Gainesville. There's a lot of potential in Gainesville. And this statue, this pictured statue here, is located not far from the Alachua County Criminal Justice Center. And when I see this statue, Lady Justice here, at the base of this statue, there's a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it says, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Next slide, please. Okay, let's have a look at solutions to the issue. Um, Paragraph 3 of the outline. What would one do differently next time? What issues have we learned? Once again, I've gone through the process. I've made several attempts to get out of this process. Hey, thank goodness for Santa Fe College for offering me a sense of, for allowing me a sense of stability, an opportunity to focus my frustrations on something. This is why I enjoy these college courses. Shouts out to Dr. Servone. Thank you for your help as well. But what lessons have we learned? Remember that challenges exist, and it is how we approach them that can sometimes make all the difference. But please, people, be aware of the societal snakes that lurk, looking for an opportunity to take advantage of somebody. Okay, I don't want to preach here once again. Not speaking bad on anybody's position within the local community, but at a certain point, hey, it begins to look bad. Okay, how would I use these learnings? This picture on the wall that you see pictured here, the picture of a gator. It's the picture of a gator in Gainesville. It's home to the University of Florida, aka the Florida Gators. When I see this picture, it reminds me where I am. We're in the swamp, and in the swamp you find gators within their natural habitat. Hey, gators he's just being a gator, okay? But I'm reminded when I see this picture that there's other creatures within the swamp that these gators share with. A lot of them are snakes, and I'm learning just to keep an open eye for these snakes. Okay, you never know where they're lurking or when they might strike. But these experiences within these past 5 years, hey, I admit I've made some mistakes, but once again, there comes a point where some of this stuff becomes obvious. Okay, how would I share this with others? Redemption. I'll try and share this encouragement with others to remain calm and confident in themselves during times of struggle. Never forget who you are and what you are not. Next slide, please. Okay, people, as I get ready to close this presentation, once again, back to the labeling theory. It's a sociological theory that deals with various aspects of human behavior, especially with regard to how a person's behavior is viewed by others and compare it to social norms. In theory, in general, in theory, this theory is used in sociology and criminology, as well as in various approaches to mental illness among different professions. Okay, people, for those of you that's been wondering, especially my kids, hey, what's going on with Gene? I heard he's going through this, or I heard this about him. He's been arrested again. He's locked up again. Well, what's wrong with him? You know, it's not a good look. Okay, and once again, the stigmas that's attached to these experiences. Hey, it's not a fun feeling. Okay, I've made my mistake. Hey, each time I try to get beyond these issues, hey, once again, here comes the harassment. What is a person to do? Next slide, please. Social identity. Back to what I said earlier about systems of power that often influence one's identity, how they're perceived through what is identified as the social lens. These systems of power, also known as social forces, they have the ability to reshape one's identity in a positive or negative way. It becomes an individual's responsibility to adapt to these social changes should they hope to survive. Next slide, please. As I stated earlier, within this presentation, it becomes an individual's responsibility to adapt to these social changes should they hope to survive. Next slide, please. One way I've chosen to adapt was enrolling in Santa Fe College. At this point, it's a decision that I'm happy to say that I have taken. Something I wish I had done a long time ago. For me, Santa Fe has offered an opportunity to vent frustrations that I've dealt with, a troubled past, um, as well as some other issues that these professionals that I speak of have assisted with helping me get myself back on track here. Okay, redemption, overcoming difficult times, and adapting to social pressures that create positive change for an individual. Next slide, please. Identity. I know I've said it before, people. I can't stress it enough. These systems of power that I speak of can influence one's identity and how they're perceived through what is identified as the social lens. Okay, I made a mistake. Okay, I've gotten beyond that, but the way I feel discriminated against in a way that, hey, it's like I've been labeled. I feel targeted, and honestly, it's a misrepresentation of who I really am. Next slide, please. On a side note, people, my name is Eugene, and in business, there are risks, and in this business of survival, I'm being forced to take some. How would I like to share this with others? This story of redemption. I like to share this encouragement with others to remain calm and confident in themselves during times of struggle. Thank you. This concludes my presentation, people. I'd like to give a special thanks to Santa Fe College, all the professors, professional people associated with Santa Fe College, Alachua County Sheriff's Office, the bailiffs, the judges. Thank you all for your professionalism. It means a lot. Alachua County Court Services. Thanks to you all, as well as the state of Florida. Thank you.